came to New York in the name of self-care.
I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did. I came to New York for 2 months, 3 years ago, and I just left my management consulting job, and I was in the startup space, but I was also going through a lot, figuring out a lot of different things, and also there were other things I wanted to explore. So part of stepping out was kind of wanting to explore certain parts of myself. And I remember one of the things I wanted to explore was writing, actually. And it was really the first time I'd connected like my desire to write with like some pursuit of it. And I remember even when I came here, I actually found a few writing groups in the city. And I would just go and write something, share something. I had, little poetry pieces.
Yeah.
And I would share them with people, but I also had a bigger writing project, which I still need to complete. I guess I wanted to nurture this desire to write, but also just this thing inside me.
I'm also interested in that idea of like escaping to a new city as a form of self-care, because I've done that before as well. But I was also thinking how, James Baldwin did that. In order for him to write, he felt that as a Black man, he was constantly in this like state of unsettledness, and so he felt like he couldn't be productive and creative as a writer in that atmosphere. And he escaped, and he went to Paris, and like he was able to find like more, inner peace that would enable him to write. And that's just like an interesting idea for me. I used to, like, when I worked as an investment banker, I would need to like escape the city, and I would go to like the countryside. That was my version of self-care, because like sometimes like London was just so intensely crowded. And you just need to get away from the crowds and just need like open space. And then when I left my consulting job, I was about to shoot a short film, and I was also like too much going on in my head, and I needed to be able to like I was in the development phase, and I needed to write this film, and I escaped to the wine country in France. And it was nice because it was like I was living in a very secluded small village. Everyone spoke French, but like it was just a getaway from normal civilization, and that helped me kind of pull myself towards myself.
Even before I moved to New York, because remember I have the 7-year period where I've been feeling like I need to move to New York, and I was like, when I get there, I'm gonna get a bike and I'm gonna ride everywhere, and this last summer I finally bought a bike, and I would ride to work and back every day. I was in the dream, and that for me, just being able to exercise every day and knowing that I'm taking care of myself physically was a big thing. And also just, every time I'm writing, it's a reminder that this is it. This is what you've been talking about for the last 7 years. This is it. So that is definitely one of the things that I do as self-care.
When I think of like my self-care, I think of the word escape, but I feel uncomfortable with using the word escape because it has this negative connotation to it.
So I guess for me, when I speak of escape, I speak of like escaping into myself. I don't feel like I'm speaking about it in terms of running away from myself. It's kind of
running towards. I like that.
Running towards yourself.
That is such a nice way.
Because it's more like of service to my needs. Because I even think of myself as like an introvert, and understanding myself as an introvert and some of the needs that I have. But as you're speaking about escaping as self-care, it reconnected me to how being in the process of going somewhere is one of the ways in which I reground. Driving or just going on the train.
Yes.
And I think back about how my dad once said to me how when I was younger, I used to like sitting at the back by myself of like, I think it was a van that we had, and I would just sit there on this like long trip, and it's interesting for me to think about that image of my younger self, and that's how I used to kind of process, and how my older self is still doing that when I need to sort of regroup. It helps me understand myself even more.
Yeah.
It's like my younger self did that. My younger self knew what I needed.
Yes. For me, it was I went to boarding school, and then often I would just be like, I need like to go away somewhere by myself and disappear and just like spend time with myself. We would have like these grounds at school, and I would just go for a walk, or I'd go out and like read, or I would go, we had like this one assembly hall with a piano, and I would just go and like play the piano by myself, and it was just like to get away from the world and to just reconnect with myself. And I think as an introvert, you just need that, you need to like energize yourself through solitude.
I'm starting to think that maybe I've always been an extrovert, and this introverted side of me has just come, because I need to do that now. But I cannot remember a time as a kid where I wanted to break. The FOMO in me was there was never a time where I'm like, I just need to go and spend some time on my own. Where the people at?
No, but I'm interested in that, because I think self-care is very personal and individual, right? And for some people, it means stepping away, but for some people, it's like you need to be people energized. I think I maybe overdid it, because now that doesn't work for me. And now I'm like, I need to go and burn it to the hole, instead of that. Yeah, but I can't think of anything that I used to do as a kid that was self-care. In my opinion, for my self-care, it means doing something to intentionally nurture yourself. We are now in the space where we have named the intention, but I do feel a lot of times it's something that you're drawn to. I wasn't intentional about going to the back of the car. It was the thing that I just did.
Yeah.
Self-care does look very different for each person, whether it's something you did intentionally or something you bumped into.
It's kind of like your soul knows what it needs, and therefore you will be led to do it, even though you can't name that that's what you're doing. You are naturally inclined to doing that thing. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Something that I've just discovered more and more about myself is when I read novels. It's like, I don't know, a whole world opens up, like reading novels are a way in which I care about myself.
Yes.
But it's not something I would have said before, but now when I reflect on what that brings up for me, so I'm just wondering, what are some of those things?
Before, I used to like read a lot of like non-fiction stuff, and then when I got back into novels, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so life-giving,
Something that happened to me last time while I was writing, because I was writing about like 24 miles a day, and I developed hypertension. Like, right? And I'm like, I'm exercising, how do I? But it really made me start thinking about my diet. And so I decided to go on this journey of trying to weed out certain things. And it kind of led me to veganism, how I look at food and preparing food for myself and exploring with new, healthier ways of eating. That has definitely done a lot for my self-care. Because I am an emotional eater, and being able to just have a hold on that, and that's not controlling me.
Like, I remember going to this Black woman self-care event, and it spoke about self-care in relation to like setting boundaries, being able to say yes, being able to say no. A lot of my struggles and the things that have led me to think about caring more intentionally has been because I've found myself in conversations that I don't really want to be in spaces that I don't want to be in, caught up in things that don't really speak to me, but then because I'm struggling to say no.
That's definitely part of self-care, that I get to pick and I get to make the right choices every day. I know I'm taking care of myself every day. Yeah.